Hey, good morning. Welcome back to another private family episode of On the Trail with Rob and Luce. Gonna talk about turmeric today. Turmeric's all the fad. Uncle Don, you got, and maybe Mom. People are out there buying these capsules in bulk. They're pretty expensive. But I just want to quickly talk about turmeric. 10 things you want to know about turmeric. And the best ways to take turmeric based on my research. So, turmeric, this is a naturally occurring spice derived from a root. Indian cuisines had it for eons. Turmeric to be absorbed properly in the body, you want to make sure that it's paired with black pepper, which has this pepperin compound into it. Boosts absorption 2,000%, if that's a thing. Anyway, the reason you want to do that is turmeric is very poorly absorbed by the body. The body doesn't like to absorb it. The liver actually filters it right out of the blood.
Get out of here, turmeric!
So you want to pair it with black pepper, and you want to kind of pair it with some fatty food. I know that I'm like death on fatty food, but a little bit of fat, a little bit of oil in the dish that you're preparing helps really absorb it also. So let's get into the quick top 10 things for turmeric. Number one, it's a hardcore anti-inflammatory. So if you have chronic inflammation in the body, it leads to heart disease. It leads to rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, degenerative joint disease, cancer. It also helps promote anti-inflammatory agents in the body on top of that. Again, the question is, how much of the turmeric can we get into our bloodstream and how often? We'll get into that in just a second. Number two, it's an antioxidant. So you have these free radicals, molecules in the body. They don't have the right number of neutrons. They're running around wrecking stuff. They can affect organic substances in the body like DNA, kind of important, proteins, fatty substances. Anyway, they mess with that. So free radicals also are linked with aging. So it has some brain boosting capabilities. You can get your brain to grow, people. Grow that bad boy. You have neurons. All these neurons are making connections with one another. And the more connections you get, the smarter you get. All this is kind of related to neurotrophic factors. There's a BDNF factor in the brain that helps promote this growth and interconnectivity. Again, turmeric's been shown to promote this factor. So why is this important to anybody? Well, it's going to promote growth of the brain. How can that be a bad thing? What else? Heart disease, number one killer on the planet, people. No, it's not people texting while driving. It's heart disease. Turmeric's been found to boost endothelial cell health. So what's endothelial cells? All of your blood vessels are lined with this endothelial lining. It's what's dealing with the direct health of the blood vessels. So the contractility, which is directly related to blood pressure, how contractile it is, hardened arteries actually increase your blood pressure. Anyway, the general health of your blood vessels, which are leading to either heart health or heart demise. What else? So let's move on to 5. It helps fight cancer, people. It has been shown in laboratory studies to not only decrease the growth and the spread of cancer, but also to kill it. And a lot of these studies aren't happening in the human body. They're studying the effect of it on cancer cells. So take all of this with a grain of turmeric. But again, this is a simple, cheap spice that you can include in your food, and there's no harmful. I take that back. There's one harmful thing. We'll talk about that at the end, just to keep you in suspense. Number 6, fighting Alzheimer's. Again, it's the blood-brain barrier. So it crosses this blood-brain barrier, helps decrease inflammation, and inflammatory factors in the brain are related to dementia and Alzheimer's. But what's really kind of cool, and some studies have shown this, One of the worst things that's happening with Alzheimer's is you get these, just like you get plaques in your arteries that lead to heart attacks, you get plaques in the vessels of the brain. These amyloid plaques are what is kind of decreasing blood flow to different parts of the brain. The plaques also inhibit function of the neurons themselves. And turmeric has been shown in some studies to actually reduce some of those plaques. It could be pretty awesome. I would think if something could reduce a plaque, it may be also preventative. That's a leap. I don't know. But again, it's a simple spice. I mean, this stuff right here. Right there. And I'm almost out. I need to go buy more turmeric. 7, okay, we've already kind of touched on this, arthritis. So a lot of people, again, the anti-inflammatory, they suffer from arthritis. So you have osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. There have definitely been studies that have been conclusive that it can affect and reduce the inflammation and the swelling secondary to the inflammation for arthritis. 8, depression. They have had 2 studies that I have read about, but it's really small sampling in these studies, like 45 people, and they broke them into 3 groups. And then they had one take turmeric supplements, which I'm not wild about. Another one take Prozac, and a third group took both. Well, the Prozac and the turmeric group had about the same level of relief from depression during the trial, and the group taking both actually did the best. What's the takeaway from this? Well, there's side effects to SSRI antidepressants, but there's no side effect to Coumadin, except that one thing that I'll talk about at the end of the video. So you gotta watch out. Can't take turmeric if you have this one other problem. One little note, the problem with seeing a lot of studies on turmeric, unless you get suckered into getting these supplements, a lot of which have some pollutants in them, there's not a big dollar bill attached to this. This is a cheap spice if you're buying it in the traditional way, which, I mean, it's been showed. You have to dig through the internet, through all the people trying to cash in on turmeric, to find the studies that actually show just the natural forms of the turmeric in the powder that you would buy. That's the spice. But one of the best ways to take it that I'm learning is just with the little turmeric root. Turmeric root. I mean, this stuff is killer. There's the turmeric, people. I mean, you can just shave the whole thing down like ginger. A 1/4 inch of this a day. We're going to get to that. That's at the end. Number 9 is showing anti-aging effects. These are related to anti-inflammatory, antioxidants. These are all direct factors for aging. So the fact that it might help delay that a little bit, or at least ward off some of the chronic aging diseases that we see, why not? I don't know how many times have I said this for to carry the 2. Maybe I've said 1,000 times that it's a simple spice. There's not a side effect to it. I don't know. This is supposed to be inserted through the mouth, people. Through the mouth, people. The last one, let's go back, and I've kind of alluded to this a lot. It is cheap. So today I bought, I've broken a couple of them. I bought this much turmeric root today. Peas can last for like 3 weeks or more in the refrigerator, and you can freeze it and still get the benefits. And it can last, you know, I got up to like 6 months supply here, or longer if it's frozen, for 19 cents. Let's say that again. 19 cents at my local supermarket, Vallarta. How much should you be taking a day? Like a 1/4 inch. So if you're doing the powders, they say 1/8 to a 1/4 teaspoon. This is way less than these supplements. So 1/4 or a teaspoon. Make sure, however you're doing it, pair it with some black pepper. So when would you not want to take turmeric. If you have known gallstones, you're taking a drug that is making your gallbladder whoosh really deliver its contents in a much more dramatic way. It's gonna increase your pain. It's gonna make it worse. Okay, this video went way longer than I expected it to. I hope you guys are still awake. I love you guys. Take care, everybody. Try to be healthy.